Hi guys, let's talk about Diablo 2 Resurrected and some things that you should know if you are just starting to play the game, or maybe you're a veteran player and you might want to watch this video and you might learn something you might not know. As many players know, Diablo 2 has been around for a very long time, and with the reboot Resurrected, it's gaining popularity again, and there are just so many things about this game that make it so wonderful, and so many hidden little secrets and hidden mechanics that I used to play Diablo 2 when it first came out many ages ago, and then I played when the expansion Lord of Destruction came out, and I absolutely loved it, and I thought I knew everything back then. And then I came back for D2R, and I am still learning new things almost every single day. This game is truly amazing with all the hidden mechanics and little secrets that it holds, but I'm going to try to unveil some of them to help you new players and returning players progress through the game a little easier. First thing I want to cover is a common mistake and misconception is people worry when they get poisoned by monsters or bosses. Let's say you're clearing out the Viper Mage and you're ticking away at your life. You kill the last one, you're panicking, you're out of potions, you make a town portal, you race over, talk to the NPC with just seconds before you tick to 1 HP just to heal in time so your character doesn't die in town, and you're so relieved about it. Well, I hate to say it, but you kinda rushed for no reason and gave yourself a panic attack for no reason. Poison cannot actually kill you. I know, it blew my mind when I found this out for the first time too, but poison can actually only take you down to 1 HP. So, if you are clearing through monsters, or through an instance, a dungeon, whatever you want to call it, and you get poisoned and your life is just taken away really fast, but there's no other monsters around, you don't have to panic and run to town. You can let the poison run its course, put you down to 1 HP, hit a air healing potion, and just continue on your way without having to spam through all the pots on your belt and wasting a lot of gold or potentially some rejuvenation potions, which no one likes to lose. So don't freak out if you get poisoned all the time. If you are in combat with a lot of monsters and you have poison, yes, you're going to want to be taking a super healing potion or something to keep your life regenerating as you're clearing through the monsters. But once they're all cleared, you can stop panicking. You survived, even though you're still poisoned. Don't freak out about it. Another thing that a lot of players don't know about is these potions that you can buy in town, the antidote potion, the thawing potion. If we buy those and use them, it actually raises our resistance. And if we give them to our mercenary, it raises his resistances too. Let me grab some gold here and I will show you. Of course, mine's already maxed. My character's a little geared here, but I can show you something with this. So if we are looking at my character page, and let's look at the poison resist, I'm at 75%. Now, if I hit one of these, it jumps up 10% to 85%. That's because these potions give you a boost. They give you a boost of about, I believe, 50 points into the resistance. Same with the thawing. I believe that one is for cold. Yep, gives you cold resistance. So it can help you actually break the maximum 75% resistance and hit up to 85%. So like the poison one, that's great if you're farming in Dariel or if you're doing with any of the Viper mobs. Cold resistance, that's great for Act 2 if you're farming the boss in Act 2 and a lot of other places. Now, as you can see, it doesn't last for too long. I believe it lasts about a minute, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. However, you can stack them up. So let's say I'm about to go fight in Dariel, and I want to make sure I don't run out of poison resistance. It might be a little long fight, so I can click multiple, and it doubles the time. So for example, if they originally last 30 seconds, and I hit 2 of them, now I have a minute. I hit 3 of them, now I have 90 seconds, a minute and a half. So it stacks up. I don't know what the maximum limit is, but there is a max limit, so don't use too many at once. I usually only have to pop 1 or 2, and I'm fine for burning through on almost all my characters. Hopefully the same is true with you. If not, you might want to bring a couple extras. Another thing is you don't have to just worry about yourself. We have to worry about our lovely mercenary here. As you can see, his is maxed out at 75 too, but if I drag and drop one over him, it jumps up to 85. He gets the same bonuses, same with the thawing potions. So that's a great thing to know. Another thing you can do is drag these to your belt so you can use them quicker. And for those that don't know, if you hold, what is it? Control and left click, I believe? Nope. Let's try control and right click. Yep, control and right click. It will auto feed the potions to your mercenary instead of to yourself. So let's say I had potions on here, I'm using them, and I'm doing fine, but my merc is getting low. I can always hold down shift and right click one of these, or shift and hit one of the number keys, and it will go straight to my mercenary. That has saved myself so many times. My muscle memory knows it. My mind doesn't always register it, so that's why it took me a moment to remember which key it was. I actually had to put my hands on the keyboard to remember. Sorry about that. But yes, those potions, they are wonderful. And a trick for new players, or if you're making a new character, buy these stamina potions. They are wonderful, especially when you're first starting out. You don't have much vitality, so your stamina's low, it runs out quick. But just like the other potions, you collect them, you can run longer, and they stack again. So you can pop 2 or 3 of them at a time, and it'll last quite a while. And that is really helpful, especially when you're making a brand new character. It really saves you a lot of time. You don't have to stop to walk or stop to rest and wait for your stamina to build back up. So that is another great helpful tip that a lot of players need to learn about and know. Another thing about early level characters, you are going to be so tempted to put points into energy. You feel like you're running out of mana left and right and you're always buying potions. I'm going to tell you right now, don't do it. Just don't. Resist. Don't do it. Don't hoard your gold either. It's okay to spend gold when you're running through the game the first time through, or through Nightmare or through Hell. Buy the mana potions. Make a stack of them. That's alright to do. You're going to need them. And trust me, you will thank yourself later, because when you get later in the game, the gear you're going to wear is going to make up for that lack of mana pool. You will be alright with just using potions. You're going to want to use those points in vitality, or to hit your strength marks to wear gear, same with dex, or maybe raise your dexterity to increase your block chances. You are going to want those points elsewhere, and you are going to regret putting them in energy. I promise you that. So don't put the points in energy. Just spend the gold, buy the mana potions from the vendors. You will be fine. And like I said earlier, don't hoard gold the first time you're playing through. Gold is basically worthless in Diablo 2. Yes, it's used for raising your mercenary, it's used for gambling, it's used for buying some stuff from the NPCs, but once you get through hell mode, you will see gold is so easy to max out. You will max it out so much and you won't even know what to do with it if you're actively playing the game. So gold, don't hoard it. If you find a weapon that you like and it's an improvement for you, go ahead, buy it. If you need potions, if you think you need a whole row of stamina potions sitting in your inventory, buy them. If it's going to help you complete the game, buy it. Spend that gold. It's okay, because once you beat hell mode, you can go back through, you can run certain areas, you can pick and choose where you farm, you can make that gold back so quick, it's not even funny. Now, some of you might be going, but I need gold for when I die. When I die, it takes gold. Not necessarily. As you can see in my primary stash, I keep nothing in here. And the reason why is when you die, yes, you lose experience and gold. However, if you don't have gold in your primary stash, it doesn't take the gold. It doesn't affect your gold. So I always keep my gold in my shared stash. Just in case if I die, I am fine then. I am not losing any gold. And if I die and I res back up and I need to resurrect my mercenary, I just go into the shared stash, I pull out how much it cost, and I res the mercenary, and I go on my way with 0 gold on me. Don't have to worry about losing gold. That's another helpful tip that I learned way too late in the game. I wish I could have learned that a lot sooner. Would have really helped me out. Another thing for new players is you will see so many videos and hear people talk so much about MF, also known as Magic Find. Don't worry about that so much the first time through. Just like the gold. Don't hyper focus on Magic Find. Yes, Magic Find is very useful and I could make a video after video on Magic Find, but you don't need to be worrying about Magic Find that much your first time playing through. And here's why. Because the first time you play through, your main mission is to beat the game. And to beat the game on all 3 difficulties. Because that is how you get to the in-game content. It's how you start getting to the Ubers, the cow levels, the farming, and all the other fun stuff that's actually really great that you don't really get to do when you're playing through the game. You will find gear along your journey that will hold up just fine. It will help guide you through the game, through all the modes. What you want to do is focus on beating all the way through Hell mode, because every time you play through, there's all these extra little side quests that give you bonus to HP, extra stat points to use, skill points, extra skill points. You want to unlock all of those extra points. I mean, it might not sound like much the first time you're playing through, but if you add it for 3 different difficulties, normal, nightmare, and hell, it adds up to quite a bit. And as you're able to go through the game with all these extra bonuses, it increases how easy the game gets for you. Same with like Act 5, where you get bonus stats through that. There's a scroll that when you use it from a quest that gives you passive stats that increase your resistance. And if you get that 3 times, well, that's a lot of resistance. 3 different modes, 3 different times you can get, 3 different times you boost your resistance. That is going to help you tremendously. So focus more on beating the game than magic finding. Once you beat the game and complete Hell mode, then yes, go ahead, stack up your Magic Find gear then. It's okay to hold on to your gear in the meantime, but not necessarily use it all the time. Just kind of hoard it away, focus on being able to beat the bosses, beat each act of the game, and unlock all the waypoints. Because then once you beat Hell mode, you can go back through and you can target farm for items. And I'm not going to get into that, but there are going to be specific places you want to farm if you're looking for certain items, and that's a lot easier to do if you've already beat the game and you have gear that you know you can run through with, compared to if you just stack a bunch of Magic Find stuff and you try to target farm. You might find that your Magic Find build might not be able to do it right away. So it's better to be able to beat through the game and go back later and work about tweaking your character than it is to just slam as much Magic Find from the very get-go. So just play through the game, worry about getting through the game. And getting through the game, I have a couple tips on that as well. Number 1, your mercenary. A lot of people don't realize this, but your mercenary's natural resistance goes up as he levels. So if your mercenary is melting a lot in a certain area that has a certain element, maybe leave that area and go farm somewhere else and level him up just a level or 2, and you will see his natural resistance automatically increases. You don't always have to stack gear to get these maxed out. Gear definitely helps a lot, but if you're just starting out, you might not have the proper gear, so it might be best just to go level. And while you're out leveling him, of course, You will be leveling yourself, which increases your skill trees, increases your stats, which will make it easier to go through those areas that you're struggling with. And another thing to think about is if you're struggling on a certain map or certain area, let's say you're trying to run through Chaos Sanctuary and you're a lightning sorceress and you go in there and there is just a ton of lightning immunes and you just can't penetrate their immunity. You can't burn them down. There's an easy trick for that. Save and exit. Just save and exit. Same if you load in and you have a bad map that is very difficult to navigate through. Save and exit. A lot of these maps are regenerated and auto-generated. So what happens when you save and exit, the game re-rolls the map. And after it re-rolls the map, it re-rolls which mobs you are going to face. It's not going to always be the same monsters in the same area every single playthrough, which is what makes Diablo so fun, because it feels like a new game every time you play through and every time you save and exit a map. So sometimes, let's say you're trying to farm a Theliac. Sometimes he spawns those Viper Mages that are glitched right now in the game, and they just burn right through you. They kill your mercenary instantly. They kill you instantly. Let's say you zone into there, you hear them hissing, rattling, you see them coming towards you, save and exit the game. Make a new game, go back in, get down there, and maybe they might not be there. I tend to do that all the time because I have died to those Vipers so many times, it is beyond frustrating. So now if I even hear them, I save and exit the game. Yes, I know ways around them, I know some tricks and tips, but it just takes a lot more effort, it takes a lot more time to clear them out. So I rather just save the game, clear back to them, and hope for different mobs to spawn. Same with resistances. If I run into something with certain resistance on my sorceress, I might reload the map by saving and exiting and going back in, and sometimes the resistance is changed and I'm able to just plow through them a lot faster, which is more efficient. Another thing you are going to want to know when you are playing through Diablo for the first time is you're going to want to make mules. For those that don't know, mules are characters that you make but you don't really play. You just use them for their storage space. For example, you might have a mule that just stores all of your ruins. You might want all your ruins on one character. And then another character might hold all of your rubies and your emeralds, all those. You might have one that just holds jewelry for crafting later in the game, one that might hold all of your amulets that you find that you think are useful, you want to trade later. Just make a ton of meals. You're going to want them. I have ones for certain set items, I have ones for certain unique items, I have ones for ruins, I have ones for jewels. The more meals, the merrier. Not to mention each mule can also hold additional gold in their own personal stash, and that's kind of helpful. Granted, it's not very much when they're level 1, but if you're bored and you decide to level them up a little, it can hold more, which makes life a little easier too. There are so many other tricks I want to get to as well, such as vendors. There are so many tricks with these vendors. One of them is that you always want to check them because, for example, every time you leave town in the act that vendor exists, the vendor resets, which means it will have new inventory. So let's say I want to buy this superior wand that has one socket really bad, but I don't have enough gold, so I decide I'm going to leave town and come back in. After I farm a little, I think I have enough gold now, I'm going to go talk to her. What's that? It's gone. Yep, it resets when you leave the act. When you leave the town on that act. So, that can be a problem for some players, but there's a workaround for that if you've played through. Let's say I really wanted the Snake's Short Staff, +1 stack field. I don't want to leave town because it's got to reset her, but what I can do is I can go to a different act and farm. So let's just go here. So I am leaving town. It is loading. My game is being a little slow right now. I am outside of town, so people are going, oh no, the vendor must have reset then. Well, I'm in a different act. So if I go back to that original act, even though I have left the town, the vendor should still have the same items available. It is only if you leave in the same act does it reset. Gotta find it right there. Right there is our snake short staff. Now, it doesn't work though if you're in the same act like I said before. So if I go out that front gate, she'll reset. If I teleport to Cold Plains, come back to town, she is no longer gonna have that staff. You see, it switched to some staff of the bat. It is no longer the snake one. So, you can farm in other acts as long as you don't walk out of town in the town of the vendor that you want to shop from. So that's useful if you're trying to save up enough money to buy a certain item from a certain NPC. It's also useful if you go to shop and you don't like what you see, you can just run out of town and back in and reset the vendor and keep shopping. It's a really helpful tip that a lot of players overlook. So make sure you guys are just careful and you're checking the vendors every time you go in and out. I only have one more tip for you guys that I really want to cover before I end this video. And that's while playing through, you're going to find so many items. And once again, like I said, make sure you make meals for all of them. But you're going to find so many items that have a lot of characteristics that you don't know what they do. For example, you might find something like this 75 to attack rating, and you might be like, what is attack rating? I don't know what that is. Use Google. Look things up. Make sure you are doing lots of research. There are so many mechanics to this game, it will blow your mind. And sometimes you might come across something that looks really good, but then you look up all the mechanics on the piece of equipment and you find out might not be best for your character. Might be great for another character, but not so much your own. Or you might look at a piece of equipment and it looks like there's barely any mechanics on it. There's only 2 or 3 things. It looks like crap to you. You just want to throw it away. But if you take a moment to Google and look up those mechanics, you might go, oh, wait. This is really worth something to someone else, or it's really worth something to my mercenary, or it might be great for just farming bosses. For example, Crushing Blow. Crushing Blow deals a huge chunk of a percentage of the HP of your target. Crushing Blow is great for people that are farming bosses. It is wonderful for people that are farming bosses or really tanky mobs. Not so great for open world farming if you're just killing mass mobs that don't have much HP. You don't really need it then. But then Deadly Strike, on the other hand, has a chance to double your damage. Now that's great for both bosses and open world. It really varies on your build and what you are doing. So you are always gonna wanna look through and look up everything. For example, this has 100% Deadly Strike. Deadly Strike can double your damage, which is great. That can be wonderful. It also has Prevent Monster Heal on it. Prevent Monster Heal is exactly like it sounds. It prevents monsters from healing, which might sound great. You might see that on that and think, oh, this piece of equipment will be great for fighting a boss so the boss doesn't regenerate HP. Well, if you look up the mechanic Prevent Monster Heal, you will find out it doesn't affect all bosses. So Prevent Monster Heal might not be that great of a thing for you, because it doesn't affect all bosses. So if you're targeting one of the bosses it doesn't affect, that is not a stat that you need to worry about. It's a useless stat for you. So I just really encourage players to do your research before you decide to throw an item out, or even before you trade an item to someone. You might want to check the value of it and just do your due diligence. I know it can be a lot of information. I know there's a lot of sources online, but just take the time to do your research. And if you don't want to take too much time to do your research, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to go over as much content for this game as possible. Make sure you hit that thumbs up if this video was helpful to you guys. Leave a comment below on other helpful tips for new and returning players that you didn't know about that you wish you did when you started. I hope you guys have fun in game, and I hope to see you guys in game.